the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino with you for the next 3 hours. Loaded program today. JP Finley on the program in 30 minutes from 106.7 The Fan in Washington, D.C. We'll go over their game plan against the Cowboys this Sunday. Arash Markazi on the Chargers and the Rams in a couple of hours. And VSiN host Mike Somich, he's going to empty the Gatling gun today. He's got like 1,000 bets that he likes for Week 18, Paulie.
Yeah,
it's here.
He was great last week.
Does it make you a little bit sad?
Oh, yeah.
Every year? I mean, I will tell you that around 4 o'clock or 4:30 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday, I get a little bit sad every year.
Yep.
Right? The NFL's not perfect, but man, oh man, when the regular season goes bye-bye, it kind of stinks.
Yep.
Can't lie.
When Scott Hansen signs off for the last time and no more even Thursday night football, which I love, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and it's not a good day, no doubt. So hopefully we can have it a profitable Sunday for the final time here.
Okay, so we will try to make sense of all the Week 18 numbers and the matchups. And as we get closer to kickoff on Sunday now, still 2 days away, more teams are announcing, some of the players anyway, who might be playing or flipping that, guys who will not be playing in their games on Sunday. We will get a rundown of player props based on the very popular incentives that you have no doubt probably heard of so far this week on social media and why sportsbooks have juiced the numbers like they have. They're not going to make it easy on you. They're going to make you pay a severe tax/premium this week, as always is the case, but these have become a bigger talking point than ever before. And I will remind people of this again. It's easy to sit there and just go, for public bettors, well, Chiefs aren't playing anybody. They're going to get blown up by the Broncos, right? Derek Carr's not playing. Tampa Bay has to have the game. Buccaneers are going to blow out the Saints. Could go on and on. The Rams aren't going to play anybody. Well, the Seahawks really don't have anything to play for other than Geno Smith incentives. Eliminated teams playing teams that need to win over the final 2 weeks since 1990. 105, 69, and 4 ATS. It's 34 years, the sample size. Almost 200 games. 105, 69, and 4 ATS on eliminated teams. Playing teams that need to win over the final 2 weeks. For Week 18, again, that would be Saints at Buccaneers, Panthers at the Falcons, Jets at the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm. Some of these are unique situations with so many guys out with New Orleans and Carolina.
Right.
Also, I do like the Jets, and we're going to go out with a bang. I like the Jets as well. But one pro sports bettor sent me this. The M in must win stands for mediocre. And Andy Reid's squad has a proven track record of strong performances in the season finale, even when starters are sitting. Chiefs have a mini bye week off the Christmas Day game, and I don't care that the Chiefs are resting starters. This isn't the preseason where we're talking about 90-man rosters and guys you'll never see the NFL field. You got backups. It's a deep team. They have a good roster, and Andy Reid has been great in this spot in the season finale, 9-1 straight up, going back, and despite being an underdog. And last year he won as a dog as well with nothing to play for. So maybe the Broncos are tight. It's a tough game. What are you going to do with Wentz? Will he be rusty? And the fact that, we will say Kansas City had problems moving the ball on him in the first meeting. And Denver should have got there. But Denver 7-0 ATS is favorites this year as well. That's a tough game, but both strong cases and points on both sides.
I'll expand on that. A quarterback not named Patrick Mahomes has started 4 games for the Chiefs since 2018. Kansas City is 2-2 straight up ATS in those games, and 3 of the 4 were decided by 1 score. Andy Reid has closed as a double-digit dog 5 times since 2007. Only 1-4 straight up, but where it matters most, 5-0 ATS.
Yep.
That's big. Other coaches who are great in this spot, Dan Campbell, Mike Tomlin, and Sean McDermott has been sneaky great in this situation. They are all 3-0 ATS in Week 18. And if you go back and include Week 17, because this Week 18 is still relatively new, so Week 17 and 18, last 10 years, Mike Tomlin 14-7 ATS, Dan Campbell 7-1, Brian Daboll's 5-0. Only his 3rd year as head coach for the Giants. Undefeated Week 17 and 18.
Very good.
Yep.
Are the Patriots going to do the right thing? You don't play May. You play a lot of Milton. Buffalo has enough to get the win and cover up to 3. Hold on to the number 1 pick. I don't care what the locker room says. Just it's Kraft, step in. Come on, do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then sit back and relax and let the offers come in once you have the number 1 pick. Come on.
I will tell you this. Odds are moving all the time, especially for Week 18, where we are broadcasting from today at circa. The Bills have moved to -3, -120 in this game. So think about that for a second. When the news came out this week that the plan was for Mayo to start Drake May and they really wanted to win this game, it came off of 3. Now, not only is it back to 3, it's 20 cents, indicating that it could be on the move even more. And I just told you that McDermott is awesome in this spot. I'll tell you that if we get 1 quarter of Josh, they wanted him, by the way, to play, obviously, to keep the streak going of consecutive games started. If you get him for a quarter and then you give me Trubisky for at least a couple of quarters, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I'm fine.
I would think so, yeah.
Mop-up duty, he's been fine.
Yeah.
So it's been a tricky year, though, overall. To remind people again, favorites in primetime games specifically, 45-12 straight up this year, 79%. And the Sunday night game, of course, Vikings playing at the Lions. This year in primetime, the Lions are 5-0. Detroit is 9-0 straight up as favorites in night games that are Dan Campbell, winning by almost 10 points per game. And Jared Goff is 7-0 ATS as versus the Vikings as the Detroit quarterback. Awesome numbers for him, and we saw more numbers come in on that today when Jared Goff has faced Brian Dable and the blitz. He is basically as good as any quarterback could possibly be. I think I saw something like 7-0. The numbers are like 70+% completion percentage and a ton of touchdowns and like no INTs. He has eviscerated the Vikings defense when they send the blitz at him.
14-16 for 160 and a touchdown in the first meeting.
That's incredible.
Yep. And as you said earlier in the week, a lot of respected guys, a lot of sharp guys and dog players are getting destroyed because it's been the year of the favorite, and it hasn't ended. The incredible number we gave out earlier, favorites of 6 points or more are 29-1 straight up since week 13. Favorites for the year are 72%. Favorites are 80% since week 13, 61-16. Favorites are 69% ATS since week 15. Home dogs, no bite. 43% on the season, worse since 05.
That's a killer for me.
Yeah, it's been an incredible season. And bookmakers, as you said, can't wait for it to end. How bad it's been. Chalk.
Yeah, what do you make of this? I was watching Money Moves earlier today with Stormy Bonatomi and Jeff Schwartz. By the way, Stormy did an awesome job on the Rose Bowl New Year's Day. And they had VSiN contributor Will Hill on. I thought Will had a good point. Like, which side do you like in the game on Saturday? Do you like the Steelers? Okay, if you like the Steelers, then why not do like a parlay with Pittsburgh with the points or on the money line along with the Raiders on Sunday? Right? Thinking that if the Steelers win, they're going to be locked into the 5 seed. However, Bengals are fighting for their playoff lives. If you like the Bengals to win that game outright or cover, then why not make it Bengals win, Chargers win? Because under that scenario, then the Chargers would get the 5 seed and leapfrog the Steelers, and the reward there would be to play the Texans in the first round of the playoffs.
Yep, not so fast, my friend. I mean, that's common sense. I would agree with you, but I don't know what Harbaugh's going to do.
I know.
Look at what McVay's doing. They're sitting everybody in a game that I think they have to have, because then you're going to look at Minnesota, Detroit, back-to-back games. I mean, you're going to get the Minnesota-Detroit loser then, and then you might going to play them again. So I don't like how McVay's handling this, and he's sitting everybody. Harbaugh's not giving it up. Well, 11 wins is better than 10. Thanks, buddy. So you would think if the Steelers lose, I win that game, I play Houston. Right. And I win, and then I get ready for maybe Kansas City, but certainly I have a much better chance to beat Houston than the Ravens, who I don't want to see.
I'll tell you what.
I'm sorry, but the thing is with Tomlin, it's the same thing with Ryans in Houston. I don't like how I'm playing. Mm-hmm. I want to look like a professional outfit and to get a little momentum here coming into the playoffs. They've lost 3 in a row, all by double digits. And, with Pickens back, you want to get these guys, get the offense going and stop turning the ball over. So I could see what but I also wouldn't be surprised if Tomlin, after it's 21-0, Baltimore, if he walks in and says, okay, a half, I'll give you a half. That's it. I'll just give you guys a half. We're not going to win the division.
Yeah. I will say this. I lived in the Bay Area for a couple of years going back when Jim Harbaugh was the head coach of the 49ers. And on the station that I worked for at the time, we would play his press conference live every single Monday. And I would always think of the song by Tool called Eulogy, because
What an album.
oh, it's unbelievable.
Yes, what a song, what an album.
But that one specific lyric, he had a lot to say. He had a lot of nothing to say. That was Jim Harbaugh. And he would try to be goofy, and sometimes the sound bites would take off. You're like, yeah, that was pretty entertaining. But most times he would just talk in circles and say absolutely nothing. And you're like, okay, did you answer? Did you come close to answering the question at all? Like that one that you're pointing to today. Mm-hmm. What's the game plan, Jim?
Won't give it up. Money on the Raiders, too. Right.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this, I think I told you during the commercial break, but I think I mentioned it with Mike Paul Monday. Belichick on this very topic was unbelievable Monday about what you do. And he goes, if you sit the starters, it's kind of an insult to the other guys and the rest of the locker room and how they feel. But so it's hard to balance that and what you decide to do and who you play. But you certainly look like a bozo. Remember what Staley did. If you're playing guys out there with nothing to play for and you lose somebody like a Williams that year.
Yeah, no kidding.
And you don't have him for the playoff game, which actually happened to Belichick.
Yep.
Wes Welker tore his ACL in a meaningless game.
Yep. All right, follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Up next, sports books are well aware of incentives. They are making you pay a serious tax or a premium on player props this weekend, including this player's receiving yards, because they know everybody wants to bet it. I will tell you the player and his crazy high number this week. Next.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah. This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
VSiN fans, you're in luck. Circa Las Vegas owner Derek Stevens offering you 50% off at 3 incredible properties. Circa Las Vegas, the D, and the Golden Gate. Whether you're lounging by the pool or enjoying all the excitement Vegas has to offer, save big. Promo code VSiN15. Book your 2025 stay now. CircaLasVegas.com. Use VSiN15 to get 15% off. Do it now.
That is dynamite
awesome.
deal.
Ladd McConkey going to play for the Chargers. Edwards is out. Palmer is out. Deebo Samuel's out. Purdy's out. Kittle's questionable. Why would you play him? Another case to be made for Arizona.
Mm-hmm. Rams made official earlier today. Stafford, Kupp, Nakua, Kyren Williams all out on offense. Haverstein also out on the offensive line, along with some other players as well. News just in, about an hour ago, Jalen Hurts officially out for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Drake May, questionable. That's official here for the Patriots.
That's a day after Van Pelt, the OC, said he was going to play.
Right, and they wanted to win the game.
Yeah, right.
If he's again...
Just play Milton and lose
Of course.
the game. Come on. Common sense.
What are we doing here?
Belichick said they should put the lottery in the NFL. I don't think it's out of control, though. Even the year even you had the Andrew Luck year, the Colts didn't lay down.
That's right.
Couldn't believe that.
I don't know about that. Look at the Raiders so far.
I know.
Let's go back even one deeper than that. Jacksonville was in control of the number 1 pick in the draft. They beat Tennessee with Mac Jones. And then it was the Raiders winning the game. And then it was the Giants winning the game. So it's not exactly not even close to the NBA, actually. We'll talk Chargers and Rams here. Arash Markazi joins the program now, founder, CEO of the Sporting Tribune, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Arash, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yep. So we just talked about the Rams. We'll get to that in a minute. Harbaugh, he's very tough to read and gauge what his game plan is going to be before our actual kickoff, right? So what do you think is going to happen based on the Steelers' result on Saturday?
Listen, if Cincinnati wins and the Chargers have the ability to move up to that 5 seed, not go to Baltimore, not play John Harbaugh in the Harbaugh Bowl, they're going to go for it. They're not going to rest their guys. They really like their chances of going in competing against Houston.
That's a great point. Why would I want to play my brother?
Exactly.
That's another one. I never thought of that. I forgot it'd be the Harbaugh Bowl again. Great job, Arash. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he has really struggled against his brother. He loves his brother, but Listen, that was one of the more, outside of Tampa Bay, that is one of the worst games for the Chargers. So, listen, we all saw what Houston looks like on Christmas Day. I'm not saying that that's what they're going to look like in the postseason, but if you have the ability to go to Houston and play a winnable game, in my view, I mean, look at the fact that Baltimore is an 18-point favorite. I mean, that's how good they are. They are a very good team.
Yeah, and by the way, the Super Bowl is ringing in my head right now, too. All those years ago in New Orleans, right?
Yeah. Listen, he has not fared well against his brother. Would he like to change that? Yes. Does he want to test that in the playoffs? No.
Well, yeah, but don't put the family through that either. Okay. So,
exactly.
Yeah, right. And then if it's a comfortable lead, do you think he could pull people, though, if they're up, 14-17, fourth quarter?
Yes, and listen, I mean, let's not forget who they're playing, right? They're going up against Las Vegas, and they have not played well this year despite the fact that they've won back-to-back games at the worst possible time to close out their season. But, I mean, the idea and the hope would be, hey, we don't have to blow out the Raiders, right? But, let's figure out a way if we have a chance. Again, this is a moot point if Pittsburgh wins. This is only if Cincinnati wins on Saturday, and this is, the beauty of this. They'll know by the time that they go to sleep on Saturday night if they're going to have to play their guys or not.
So I'll bring this up, too. Harbaugh, of course, was not the coach last year of the team. But in that game out here in Las Vegas against the Raiders, that was in December. A lot of the same players, obviously, on the team. They had quit on their coach, right? That was the last game for Brandon Staley. The Raiders pounded them 63 to 21. Do you think some of the players that were on the team last year and back now, they kind of remember that game and they want revenge?
100%. There's a lot of players who feel that way. There's a lot of players who felt that that was not needed. Listen, obviously they were the better team. Las Vegas won, but the way that they ran up the score late, they didn't like that. So depending on who's playing, listen, they would love to get a big lead in the first half. I do think if that does happen, to your guys' point, they would pull their guys. Again, they just want to win. So as much as these guys want to kind of, blow out Las Vegas or whatever, listen, if Cincinnati wins, Harbaugh has made it very clear to us this week that he wants to move up to the number 5 seed.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, obviously. What about the other team in Los Angeles? Are you surprised here, based on who the Rams could play in the first round, that McVay has been saying all week, and they're going to go through with this, that they're going to sit a bunch of guys?
I am surprised only because of what this means. Again, normally there's not that big of a difference, right? Whether you're the 3 seed or you're the 4 seed. If you're the 4 seed, you're going up against a 14-win team that's vying for the number 1 seed. If you're the number 3 seed, you're looking at maybe playing a Washington team, which I know they've played very well, but you're talking about a rookie quarterback. You're talking about a franchise that hasn't won a playoff game in forever. I'd much rather play Washington. That being said, 2 things important to note with the Rams. Number 1, health is the biggest thing for this team. The reason that they were in the predicament they were in at the beginning of the season, 1-4, is a bunch of the guys were out. So they realized more than most teams how big health is. Number 2, their bye week came around week 7. It was early on in the year. These guys have not had any time off. They do need some time off. They do need the rest. Last thing, they're not afraid of Minnesota. They beat them this season. They're also not afraid of Detroit. They played them twice, both times in Detroit. Both times had the lead late. So while, yes, Detroit and Minnesota are 2 14-win teams vying for the 1 seed, they're not afraid of playing one of those 2 teams at SoFi.
Great answer. What do you expect out of Garoppolo, who could be rusty?
Well, so that's the other wild card here. They're not rolling out this backup quarterback or this third stringer. They're rolling out a guy who a couple of years ago was starting in the conference championship game at SoFi Stadium. They're playing a guy who's really playing for a contract. Again, he signed a 1-year deal with Los Angeles, fully expecting, no knock on Matthew Stafford, but that Stafford was going to miss a couple of games this season. He did not. So I really fully expect, again, he's not going to have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and the same guys, but I really think you're going to see Jimmy Garoppolo play for a contract, play for the ability to start on a team next year. Again, The Rams have a track record of doing this. Look at Baker Mayfield. He was cut at the end of the season in December. His career was kind of done. The Rams took a flyer on him. He played well. He won a couple of games, and now look at him in Tampa Bay. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but when Garoppolo signed with the Rams, that was who he had in mind. And he certainly thought he was going to start more than one game. And final thing on this, we all saw Seattle a week ago. If Chicago scores 7 points, they win that game. Seattle's not that great of a team either. So the Rams, maybe with their backup, we'll see, they might have a chance to win this game.
So I'm looking at a rushing yards prop right now for Blake Corum, the stud running back from Michigan, who's going to be getting, you would think, a majority of the carries in the backfield with no Kyren Williams. Is it his time to shine this week? Are they going to give him enough opportunities to have a big game, in your opinion?
100%. Again, he's a player that I really thought would play a bigger role in the team this season. He has not, but I think he's another one who really thought he would get more of a chance this season. They are definitely going to run him. Again, so Sean McVay's not going to change the game plan. Again, the players will change, not the same players that we've seen them that have helped propel this team to 10 wins. But I expect Blake to have a very good game.
Which team based in Los Angeles is going to be more dangerous in the playoffs, in your opinion?
I think the Rams, only because of this. They're going to have a home playoff game, and I think that they certainly have a chance to win that home playoff game. Then they go on the road, and we'll see what happens there. When people ask who can go further, I just think the Rams have the chance to win that home game, and then we'll see what happens in the division. With the Chargers, guys, really, I mean, they are pulling for Cincinnati. I don't like the chances of this Chargers team going to Baltimore. But real quick on the Chargers, they were built with Baltimore in mind, with J.K. Dobbins, their GM, came from Baltimore. They really try to build a Baltimore type of a franchise here with the Chargers.
You can follow Arash on X. He's at Arash Marchese, and also he's the founder and CEO of the Sporting Trib. He does an excellent job covering these teams in L.A. and beyond, here in Las Vegas, Hawaii as well. Happy New Year, pal. Thanks for the time today.
My pleasure. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep, there you go. Done. He joined us on the Progressive Guest Line. It's the last time I'm going to bust out Happy New Year, by the way. That's it this week.
Yeah.
Maybe to Samich coming up in 20 minutes, but that's
right.
I'm done.
And shut it down?
Yep. No more.
Good.
Not tonight.
Yep. Good interview. Good job. Made a lot of excellent points.
So heavy dose on Corum, 55.5 yards out there right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Against the Seattle defense.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the same thing's true with Pittsburgh. I mean, you did split against Baltimore. Tomlin, macho guy, we're not afraid of anybody. So, I mean, I guess I could see that too, where it's like, okay, well, we played a half, we lost, okay. Well, so be it. We take on Baltimore. I could see that's the Rams thought process, though. Beat Minnesota at home. Right there in both games against the Lions, rather. But that's not how I would play it. I would win, get the 3 seed, and avoid those guys.
So would I.
Because it's the back-to-back that's going to do it. It'll be physical games.
Yeah. Especially
if you go Minnesota, then right, go ahead.
You can bet those right now at FanDuel.
Yeah.
Rams are getting 2.5 points at home to the Vikings, and the Lions are laying 3 against the Rams. Man. In-pocket plays coming up next here. I'll tell you what we're betting this weekend on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We're live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Week 18, it's always a lot of fun with the player props, the guessing games, the speculation. And VSiN host Mike Samich joins the program now. He is on the Progressive Guest Line. He's one of the co-hosts on Ready, Set, Bet, Saturday and Sunday evenings right here on VSiN. Mike, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to Week 18 here. I didn't think I'd have a ton of bets, but I ended up being able to find quite a few props that I liked here for Week 18. It's been fascinating to watch some of the numbers moves on the sides and the totals as well as we get more and more information on what these teams are planning on trying to do here.
Yeah, you're spot on. We'll run them all down here, Paulie, real quick. So you do a write-up at VSiN.com where all these bets are available as well. For example, you bet the Buccaneers minus 13.5. That number's gone. What do you want to do with it now?
Well, it's sitting at 14. I would still be Bucks or nothing here at the 14 number. This is a Saints team that's just been dead the last couple weeks. We saw them play with Rattler earlier in the season. It was a 51-27 game that the Bucks won. All 27 of those points came in an absolutely chaotic second quarter for the Saints, where they got short fields, they got return touchdowns, and this Bucks offense has just been an absolute truck the last few weeks as well. I expect them to be able to continue to run the football, continue to throw the football. And one of the things that pops out to me is this Bucks defense right now. They were able to hang their hat on their rushing defense in years past, and we are seeing them do the same thing here in the last 4 weeks, giving up less than 60 yards per game on the ground. This is the Saints offense. If they can't run the football, good luck with them trying to get points on this Bucks defense. So I would still lay the 14 with the Bucks. I do like the first half with the Bucks a little bit more than the 14. You can get that at 7.5 or 8 at different books, but it's not up everywhere just because of the size of the spread here. But Bucks 14 or Bucks first half -8 would be how I'd attack this now.
I would think common sense would win out here after he left the game with an injury. And if they lose, they get the 1 seed and May doesn't play. How about Bills-Patriots?
Yeah, this is another one where I played Bills 2.5 this morning, and now we're seeing it at 3. I would hold off on betting this. Let's see if we get that 2.5 back either Saturday or Sunday. If we don't end up getting it back, the Bills -3 would still be a small bet for me. It's another situation where, look, yes, you're losing some of the starters on the Buffalo side, but guys like Ty Johnson, guys like Ray Davis, who are in the backfield for Buffalo, still very good. Mitchell Trubisky, one of the better backups, not someone you want to run out there for a full season, but someone who, as a backup, is going to be pretty good in these spots. And you mentioned it. Look, the Pats are planning on playing Joe Milton for at least part of this football game. I'll be interested to see how long Drake May wants to stay in there. Mm-hmm. But you got to think, this is a huge spot for the Patriots to lose. If they are able to get that number 1 pick, they can trade out for a king's ransom because of the quarterbacks that are going to be sitting at the top of this draft. And all of a sudden, this rebuild happens a whole lot faster for a Patriots team that has holes at defensive end, that has holes at wide receiver. They need to fill up that offensive line. They need to put pieces around Drake May as quickly as possible because he's proven he's a legit NFL starter at this point. You've got to make sure while you have him on that rookie deal, you get as much talent around him as possible.
All right, how about a total? Atlanta and Carolina.
Yeah, this is one of the more fascinating stats to me. So NFC South games this year are 9-1 to the over.
Yeah.
All 5 of Carolina's games have gone over in the NFC South. When you think about it, it makes sense. There's a lot of teams that are devoid of pass rushes and teams that can move the football when they need to. And this is another spot where I'll go with the over number. I played 48 this morning. It's available at 48 a couple places. 48.5 is the more prevailing total at this point. I think you're going to see points here. I mean, this is a Panthers defense that has given up a ton of rushing yards. I got actually have a couple other props from this game because of it. And it's also a Falcons defense that can't rush the passer. So I expect the Panthers to be able to move the football through the air and the Falcons really to be able to move it on the ground or through the air. One of my favorite props on the board right now, you can get Atlanta's team total rushing. So if you go into the rushing tab for the props and you scroll down, you can get team totals here. The Atlanta number is 150.5 rushing yards. Let's take the over on 150.5 here. Carolina's given up 206 yards per game over the last 3. They've given up 176 yards on the ground throughout the full season. And it's a situation where you'd expect Bijan Robinson going to have a big game here. But I don't want to just play Bijan props because he's sitting there in the high 90s, Algiers in the 30s. This is a situation where if Atlanta does get up a couple scores, I wouldn't be shocked if Algier starts to get more and more workload. I think he'll be successful running the football, so I'd rather take the team total over the 150.5 than I would just taking Bijan prop over.
All right, you're also looking at 2 receivers on the same team in the Bengals-Steelers game on Saturday, and they're not on Cincinnati. Who do you like on Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I'm going to – look, we've talked about Pickens so much on this show over the last few weeks, and it just keeps on giving the longest reception for George Pickens. He's lined at 27.5. I'm surprised it's that low. You can go and find alt totals for this. I found it alt for 30 yards or longer for George Pickens' longest reception. That's at plus 123. That's over at Caesars. He's gone over 30 yards in his last 8 straight games for his longest reception and has gone over his longest reception in every single game Russell Wilson has played. We've seen Wilson throw up those moon balls, and Pickens getting 2, 3, 4 opportunities a game, just has to pull one of them down for us to be able to get over that longest reception prop. So I played 30-plus yards at plus 123 there for Pickens' longest reception. And then I like Pat Freiermuth as well, going over his total. He's sitting at 35.5. He had a good game last week against Kansas City. They're number 1 in the NFL, giving up yards to tight ends. Well, if you go and look at the Cincinnati team, they're top 6 in the NFL, giving up yards to tight ends through the air. Freiermuth sitting at 35.5 should be able to go over this number. He got to 60 yards the first time these two teams played. So I'm going to rely on Freiermuth as kind of the move the sticks kind of guy, and Pickens to be able to get a longest catch.
Every week you talk about Thomas, and you get creative with ladder bets as well. Do you think Thomas, again, goes off, and what do you want to do with him against the Colts?
Yeah, look, I like Brian Thomas Jr. Anything under 85 yards. If you look at what he's getting lined at, it's ridiculous to me. You look at guys like Mike Evans. He's sitting at 96.5, right? Brian Thomas should be considered at the same level as Mike Evans from a prop perspective, which feels crazy to say for a rookie wide receiver. For the last 5 games, he's gotten at least 10 targets in each game. The last 4 games, he's gone over this 79.5 number. He had 91 last week, 130 the week before. He's going to get multiple targets in this game again. I think he goes over that 10 target mark and get over the 79.5 yards. And this is the 26th and 32nd ranked pass defenses here for Jacksonville and for the Colts. So I expect wide receiver ones to have success here. So I kind of put a little crazy one together, and this keys on Joe Flacco playing. We haven't officially heard if it's going to be Richardson or Flacco yet. I expect it's going to be Flacco just because of the back problems we're seeing from Richardson. If you look at Brian Thomas Jr., 80-plus yards and a touchdown, and then Michael Pittman, 80-plus yards and a touchdown, you put the 4 of them together in a same-game parlay, that's plus 2,500. And the reason I want to focus on Pittman here, first off, we do get that 32nd ranked pass defense in Jacksonville. But if you look in the 6 games that Joe Flacco played, both of Pittman's 100-yard games came in those 6 games, and all 3 of his touchdowns came in those 6 Joe Flacco games as well. So Pittman gets upgraded quite a bit if Flacco goes in. So I'll take a shot here with Thomas and Pittman to each go over 80 yards and each score a touchdown at 25-1.
By the way, Brian Thomas, I did not even know this until right now. He has 10 touchdowns this year.
He's been phenomenal. Phenomenal. He's like one of those guys that I loved preseason. I thought that he was kind of the 1D wide receiver. He may end up being the best or second best wide receiver in this class when it's all said and done. His ability to take short passes and take them to the house, but also be able to blow the top off defenses has just been phenomenal, especially when you're considering what's around him in Jacksonville. I mean, there is really no second pass threat. There's no second wide receiver threat out there. You can't really run the football, and now you're having Mac Jones to throw it to you, and he's still able to put up numbers consistently, both from a yards and touchdown perspective.
Yeah, I knew he was crushing it with the yards, but not the touchdowns like that. Incredible rookie season out of him. You also want to get creative with Derrick Henry to score a touchdown and tie it into another running back whose chances you really like to score a touchdown. How do you want to approach this?
Yeah, there's a couple interesting numbers for anytime touchdowns. If you look at Derrick Henry and Bijan Robinson, both of them are sitting right around that minus 220, minus 240 type number. And when I run through the numbers here, I think they both have a 70+% chance of scoring. And you have guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, who's minus 400, who I have right around that same percentage. So I'm going to attack the two guys who I think have very positive matchup situations. So first off, Henry has an incentive. If he scores one touchdown, he gets a $500,000 bonus. I would expect anytime they're inside the 5, you're going to see Derrick Henry carries. They want to put that game away as quickly as possible so they can get their starters out. So I do like the idea of Henry getting an anytime touchdown. And I mentioned how bad that Panthers rush defense is. Well, if you watch the game last Sunday night, we're seeing Bijan Robinson now get direct snaps and the Wildcat inside the 5-yard line. They're really using him in the red zone, specifically get in the end zone. If you team up Derrick Henry and Bijan Robinson for anytime touchdowns, you get minus 109. I think there's quite a bit of value in that. If you want to bet them both single, I totally understand that. Some people don't like to parlay these, but both of them are undervalued in my numbers, so I put them together to get right around that even money price.
Mike, in like 30 seconds in this segment, you like Daniels to go over his rushing prop this week too?
I do. He's sitting at 47.5. We've seen him go over the last 3 weeks. He is healthy, and this Dallas defense cannot stop the run. Third most yards allowed to QB on the ground. Daniels went for 74 the first time they played. Lamar went for 87 against Dallas. Hurts 56. Purdy and Mayfield each went for 40+. Dallas defense hasn't been able to stop the quarterback run all year. I think Daniels keeps that going this week.
Very good. Hang on the line. We're going to bring you back for one more segment. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Mike Somich. His show is called Ready, Set, Bet, weekends right here on VSiN. And the contest show tomorrow night, Paulie, is going to be must-watch television. We'll get his thoughts on that. It's in regards to Circa Survivor and the 18 remaining contestants in that contest. He also has New Year's betting resolutions and a couple of plays in the NHL that he likes as well. Find out who it is coming up next here on VSiN.
is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Want to become a sharper bettor this holiday season? VSiN has the ultimate gift for you or the sports bettor in your life. Final week. Last call. Take advantage of our holiday special. VSiN Pro Access. Everything we offer through May 1st, just $79. Everyone loves the prop analyzer. You get lost in all the info that's up there. Every sport is covered. Every best bet, every host, every guest, the 24/7 video access, all the guides, vsin.com/subscribe. Unwrap your winning edge today. vsin.com/subscribe. Double shot again with Mike Somich, and we'll get a horse as well. But you do the Ready, Set, Bet and also the contest show. Can't wait for Saturday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. What do you think here, strategy standpoint? There are, I think three or four people, 3 for sure, that do not have the big 3 available. 18 people left, almost $800,000 of value with the equity. What do you think here of how many teams will be selected on the final Sunday in the final action of Circa Survivor? Take it away.
Well, it's pretty wild, first off, that through 5 weeks we saw all these eliminations, and here we are heading into the last week with 18 people left, no real chance to chop, so you had to monetize this in creative ways if you did get this deep. Hopefully all 18 people have already made some money off of this contest because they definitely deserved so, considering how far they have gotten in it. I feel like there's 5 for sure, right? There's 5 people with Tampa. They have to take Tampa. I think that's the absolute no-brainer there because I do believe that's the easiest one to coast through. If you don't have Baltimore, no one has Baltimore. I think that you're going to see a lot of Atlantas in this spot as well. There's quite a few people, I believe it's 13, that have Atlanta left, so I think that's going to end up being your most popular pick. There's 2 people with Green Bay. I would be willing to take Green Bay here if I didn't have Tampa. That would be my second selection simply because it is so few people that can select them. You're able to put yourself on an island. It's also a game that's a little bit later, so you have a little bit more options to see what happened. There's one person with Seattle. If I'm that person, I'm taking Seattle. The Rams have already shown they don't really care about this football game with who they are starting, and I love the idea of being the only person left. The chance that if all chaos breaks loose, you are the one that can scoop it. So I'd rather go with Seattle versus someone like Atlanta. My guess is we get a rogue Cincinnati. We get 1 or 2 others that are surprising. So I'm going to say there's going to be 6 teams selected here in the final week out of these 18 contestants.
Now, I'm confident someone's going to use Arizona. 13 people have Arizona. 49ers are Debo's out. I don't think Kittle plays. Purdy's out.
Yeah, we're seeing them as 4.5-point favorites. I wouldn't be shocked if there's a couple Arizonas in there. That one, a lot of the people with Atlanta also have Arizona, so that's going to be kind of one of those question marks of who do you trust more here? Do you trust Arizona going against a depleted San Francisco squad, or do you trust Atlanta, who that game may not mean much if the Bucs are up 25 at half, right? So you kind of have to wonder which way you're going to go with that. I wouldn't be shocked if we have a couple Arizonas as well.
Mike, we got an email pointing out that there is one entry left with Minnesota playing on Sunday night. You take the Vikings. I'm looking at their other entries or other teams that they have available. The best available would be Atlanta. But you take Minnesota. You hope for absolute carnage throughout the day on Sunday. And then you're going to know how much your ticket might be worth if you get said carnage. And then you can really go to work.
I mean, it's like poker, right? There's advantage to being in position, and that is definitely being in position in this contest, right? Because you know exactly what you need to be able to win. You can come up with a hedging scenario there. I would like it more if it was Detroit, because then I could play +3 on the Vikings, and I could create myself a middle versus taking a dog, because your hedge is also going to cost you more money if you just want to play on the money line. So for me, I don't hate the idea of Minnesota because it's the last game there and because you have so many options. But I would want to make sure that I have enough capital to be able to hedge back the other way on the money line. And I would want to make sure I don't have a layup, right? Like if you're sitting there with Tampa, I'm going to go Tampa instead of Minnesota. But if it's a tough week for that specific person, I haven't looked through there who they have available. I don't hate the idea at all of being the last person to play there, because you do have the ultimate position and you know exactly how much that game is worth to you. Everyone else is guessing of how much that game is going to be worth to them. If you had Minnesota or Detroit in that last game, you know the exact value of that football game, which gives you a lot more clarity when you're hedging.
Well, it's been great because you hit the air last week and the Rams game's going on, and you mentioned it too, the 2 people on Cincinnati. Derek Stevens actually said that with us Tuesday about imagine if someone takes the Bengals. Then you sit back, and then if you get that and you're like a sniper, you get back and you can do the round robin and everything, what could happen there. So you might be onto something there as well. You want to go to Santa Anita, race 9?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's head out to the great race place there, Santa Anita Park. Ninth race, we're going a mile on the turf, $50,000 maiden claimers here. So if either of you guys are having a good football season, just drop $50K in the bucket. You can buy one of these horses. We're going to go to the rail here. Max and Lou, 5-2 right now on the live line with 7-2 on the morning line. This is a horse for Mike Pipey. He has been absolutely on fire at Santa Anita to start this meet. He has 8 runners. 3 of them have won. 2 of them have run second. Big class drop here, and that's the key for me. It's the second time in the Pipey barn, so it's important because you get more of a conditioning under the horse. You'd expect a better run, but dropping down from the maiden special weight level to the maiden claiming level, it's called the biggest drop in horse racing from a class perspective. I think the one, Max and Lou, able to take advantage of that drop and make a big run late. If you're playing an exacta, I do like the 2 Burning Rubber as well, 5-1 on the line right now. Sean McCarthy horse that I think is going to get the lead and just take him as long as he can. We'll see if he's got the stamina to be able to go the full mile, but I think the 2 is going to be at least in front for a large portion of the race. But I like the 1, Max and Lou, to win the finale here at Santa Anita.
All right, Paulie told me during the break that you're now known as the NHL kid around these parts. So who do you like in hockey tonight?
We've been on a nice little run in the NHL. Not going to lie. Only given out 4 games so far this season, and we're 4-0. So let's throw 2 more at the board here. First off, the Vancouver Canucks. I understand we've got injuries, right? Quinn Hughes is out. Elias Patterson's out. Those are 2 of their better players not going to be playing tonight. But they're plus 165 at home against the Nashville Predators. The Nashville Predators are not good at hockey. They're 3-13 on the road. 3-13, and they're minus 195 right now to beat a team that is 18-11 on the season. I thought the Preds should be favored because of the injuries. I had them much closer to the opening number, which was minus 130. I think the market's gotten way out of hand here. Give me the Vancouver Canucks here, plus 165 at home tonight. And then the other one, let's look at my St. Louis Blues. This is a team that has played significantly better since Jim Montgomery took over as the head coach. They've allowed a lot fewer goals. They're scoring more goals. Both of those big-time positives when you're playing hockey, to score more than your opponent does. Tonight they have the Ottawa Senators coming in and taking them on. This is the 8th straight road game for Ottawa, and it's a really funky position for them because not only is their 8th on the road, they actually haven't played since December 29th. Ooh. So they went home, and now they're flying back out on the road, kind of like a break in the road trip. St. Louis, on the other hand, got a big win, 6-2 over Chicago the other night. This is about a pick'em game right now. The Blues minus 115, minus 120 in most places. I like plus money, guys. Let's go lay the goal and a half with St. Louis. You can get plus 220 on St. Louis to win by 2 or more goals. So St. Louis Blues minus 1.5, plus 220, the other play in the NHL tonight.
We did this earlier in the week. How about a couple New Year's betting resolutions?
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 big ones. The first one I got away from during the NFL season, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself because I've gotten back to it later in the season, and it's really proved fruitful. So just spend 15 minutes every day looking through your sportsbook options, because I don't think people understand how many different options you have to bet on a lot of these games. You think, okay, NFL, side, total, props, great. Well, there's a lot of other aspects to it. It's not just the side totals and props. And one of the ones that I found a couple weeks ago that I absolutely loved, if you dive down inside the passing props, the rushing props, the receiving props, you can actually get number of touchdowns total scored in a specific way in a game. I mentioned I like the over in that Panthers-Falcons game. I like Bijan Robinson to run in a touchdown. You can get over 2.5 rushing touchdowns in that game at plus 133 right now. I think that's a great value considering Falcons highly likely to try and run it in there. And if we do go over 48 points, you're going to get at least 6 touchdowns. I just need half of those to be runs to be able to cash. If you look at the receiving aspect or the passing touchdowns as well, most games lined around 3.5. Last week in the Minnesota Green Bay game, you saw the 3.5. The over to that for over 3.5 passing touchdowns was plus 130. Yet you had both quarterbacks at 1.5 passing touchdowns, minus 174 and minus 148 respectively. So you just need 4 total. You don't need both of them to get 2. 3 and 1 works out just fine. That's what ended up happening in that game, and that cashed. And that was because I just started looking through these options again. When you scroll through these menus, you can find new bets that are always going to be profitable for you.
Yeah, that's great. What about with live player props?
I didn't even realize how deep that you could go with these, but we've been doing them on Sunday night with Matt Brown and I during the live games that we're covering and had a ton of success. Once you, we're always trying to project game script to be able to project who's going to be successful, be it a running back, a wide receiver. You can jump in after a quarter or two, and you know what the game script is going to be. You know who's ahead. You know who's behind. You know who's going to be throwing, who's going to be running. Playing those live player props, I think, is a huge advantage because the books often just divide by 2. That's how they come up with the second half number. I disagree that that's correct because you have additional information to tell you who's going to be throwing, who's going to be running, and you can take advantage of that.
Yep. Well said. Have a great show tomorrow night. It's going to be dynamite right here on VSiN called Ready, Set, Bet. The contest show is going to be at 9 Eastern and 6 Pacific. You guys do a great job with it, Mike. Thanks for the time today. Good luck this weekend.
Appreciate it, guys. Good luck this weekend. Thanks for having me on all NFL season. I appreciate it.
It was awesome.
Can't wait for it's coming up. VSiN primetime, and then the Friday Football Invitational finale tonight. The Iceman. It's the Chuck Edel Invitational. Ran away with it. Chuck Edel, Derek Stevens, Paul Bovey, Chris Felica, Chris Macero, and Drew Bridges' Average Joe contest. What a lineup.
Awesome show.
American Giant makes great clothing, sweatshirts, jeans, and more right here in the U.S. Visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com, code STAPLE20.